Golf, sex, unprofessionalism, title changes, upset victories, plexiglass, human beings. This was a monumental episode of WWE Raw. I am Ross Twaddell from Cultaholic.com. You are a sexual wank faisant, and let's not waste any more time. Here are all the WTF moments from this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, but stick around till the end of this video and we will play a game of which NXT Performance Center superstars were in the crowd. Bingo! Yeah! WTF! And finally, we have a crowd at a WWE show in this self-isolation era. A crowd was there at this week's Raw. And even Simone Johnson herself was in that crowd, despite the fact her daddy's new television show was taking place at the same time on the other channel when Raw was going on. I know this week's Raw was recorded earlier in the day. Settle those fingers down now. But this leads me to the matter at hand, something you will probably expect me to address while speaking about the crowd at last night's Raw. Did WWE copy AEW by having their superstars surround the ringside area, giving their show a bit of ambience? Maybe. Should we, as fans, give a toss about the fact this might or might not have happened? Absolutely not. It's something that made this week's WWE Raw 100 times better to watch. So WWE improving their shows? Good. And if Vince McMahon did happen to watch an episode of AEW Dynamite and see their people around the ringside area and think, oh, Tony Khan, you are a genetic genius. Pardon me. Once again, good. If the presence of AEW is going to make WWE better and vice versa, you guess who the winners are here? Us, the fans, because we're getting to see more good professional wrestling action. Good stuff from WWE here, but was anybody else looking around the crowd? Remember, we're going to have some bingo right at the end of this video as I try and name every single person in that crowd. So you make your notes as to every single person you saw. We'll compare whoever gets the most wins. Bingo. But was anybody else looking around the crowd thinking, no Pineapple Pete, that's just so wrong. So I'm going to put something out here, right? Pineapple Pete should be the only wrestler in the history of the world ever to be contracted to AEW, but also be contracted to WWE. So he can appear in the crowd at both shows. It needs to happen. It just feels right. And also about that crowd, where were your CM Punk chants? You're trying to be a realistic WWE crowd, and there's no chance of CM Punk. CM Punk fight forever. Now, I mentioned this on the SmackDown WTF Moments on Saturday when this triple threat matchup was first announced, but I'm going to ask it again here. How the hell has Natalya, as we're stood here in May of 2020, wrangled her way into a match for a shot at a shot for a championship? Natalya has been on the losing side of things in 13 of her last 15 WWE matchups, although that does include the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber, but still, that is fugly. And that's not to mention that last week on Raw, she proved she is a bleeding idiot by challenging the submission magician Shayna Baszler to a submission matchup. Who does that? I mean, I guess if we're looking at things outside of kayfabe, we needed somebody to take the pinfall, to take the loss, when we've got Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair in a matchup here in May of 2020, the way they're both being booked at the moment. But still, in the kayfabe, if you know why Natalya was in that matchup, please let me know. But still, we did hear Natalya's reason, I guess, her kayfabe reason for being in that matchup when she shouted right in the face of Charlotte Flair, "You don't even follow me on Instagram." Yeah, you guys. She sounds a little bit like Sloth. But there we go. Did you hear the man speaking over the top of that opening segment on this week's Raw? If you did, let me know what he was saying, because I want to know. I listened to that opening segment, the portion at least, when the man was speaking over the top of Kevin Owens and all the rest of the people in the ring, and I couldn't make out what he was saying. So if you know, let me know, because I want to know. Then we had Kevin Owens bigging up the crowd, saying, you, the people in the crowd, you are undeniably the future of WWE, especially those of you wearing Kevin Owens shirts. And then we saw that. I see nothing wrong with that statement from Kevin Owens whatsoever. Oh! Of course I'm joking, man. I'm pulling all your legs. She'll get there eventually. It's not her fault that she was put on NXT television way before she was ready to be there. What's she supposed to say? No, Triple H, I don't fancy being on NXT. I'm not ready to do that yet. You're gonna do it, aren't you? She'll get there soon. It's not her fault. You've never beaten me, said Charlotte Flair to Asuka. I've done it. I've done the research. SmackDown Live episode 1009. Asuka defeats Charlotte Flair. SmackDown Live episode 1016. Asuka defeats Charlotte Flair. SmackDown Live episode 1017. Asuka defeated Charlotte Flair. SmackDown Live episode 1019. Asuka defeats Charlotte Flair. SmackDown episode 1020. Asuka defeats Charlotte Flair. And Raw episode 1383. 1083. I do apologise for my enunciation for the first time in 4 years, even though I should have apologised for the way I speak since day one. I can't even speak English properly, but that's besides the point. Asuka defeated Charlotte Flair once again. Now, of course, Asuka might not have pinned or submitted Charlotte Flair. I didn't do that much research, but the history books clearly state that Asuka has in fact indeed defeated Charlotte Flair. So take that one, Charlotte. Ah, the size of those heels, and she's jumping off that ring apron backwards? That's some kind of death wish, surely. My God, we're here once again. Why do people hold themselves up like that when they know somebody's going to come flying down to kick them square in the face with both of their feet? And I've come to the conclusion, especially after listening to Angel Garza's promo from last night's Raw, more of which we'll speak about in a bit. Every single WWE superstar is a kinky bastard and likes pain happening right in their faces. Why else would you hold yourself up, man? And then we have that Angel Garza promo where he compared wrestling, a professional wrestling match, to shagging. Now that comparison sounds like something that should be a WTF moment, but let me tell you, if you didn't see that promo, Angel Garza made everything make so much sense. So the fact that all made sense and therefore isn't a WTF moment makes it in fact a WTF moment. That made sense in my head, yes it did. But my mind went there once again. Just imagine all of the children around this beautiful world watching this week's WWE Raw, watching Angel Garza, a sexy man, speaking with his sexy voice about bodies crashing together, and the awkward scenario where those kids turn around and ask their parents what the hell is going on here. The birds and the bees talk happened from Angel Garza on this week's WWE Raw. And then we have Apollo Crews not only winning the United States Championship from Andrade, but he won it with the old gorilla press into a moonsault ting. And I don't know about you, but it certainly took me off guard. It's like big baldy bastard Baron Corbin winning a match with a deep six. Something we've seen before, but something that doesn't make it less of a WTF moment in my opinion. But in that same vein, seeing a signature move rather than a finisher ending a match is a bit refreshing, isn't it? I know it's professional wrestling, but you see the old Sami Zayn hit 1,000 Blue Thunder bombs and not win one single match. You see Dolph Ziggler do 1,000,000 Famasses and not win a single match, maybe. I didn't do the research. I don't think he has. And it makes you wonder, lads, why do you still keep doing these moves? Go for a pinfall, get a count of 2 and act all shocked. You know what's coming. So seeing things like that, it refreshes the palate, so it does. These signature moves are also devastating, but still WTF moment worthy. But Apollo Crews being United States Champion, imagine saying that sentence just before WrestleMania 36. And not only that, imagine saying you are compelled by Apollo Crews. Wow, we've come a long way, haven't we? Well done, WWE. That injury angle worked wonders for the bloke.
Austin and Buddy know what it's like to be underutilized and underappreciated.
Said Seth Rollins. And I was thinking, wait there a minute, Seth Rollins. Austin Theory is 12 years old. He looks like that. He's wrestling on WWE Raw and he's had a WrestleMania match all by the age of 12, man. I know that heels are meant to lie and twist the truth and all that malarkey, but Sethy Poo, Austin Theory doesn't even know the word underappreciated or underutilized. He's never been through that thing in the wrestling world, never. And I was saying Sethy Poo, or should we be calling Seth Rollins Darius now? Now, I'm not sure if the mask that Darius is holding there is supposed to be the mask that Ronald Mysterious was wearing when Darius blinded Ronald Mysterious. But it wasn't, even though Seth Rollins was kind of acting like it was. And oh, by the way, the Darius name is because in this moment, Seth Rollins might have proved that he is indeed colorblind. Sort of sounds like Liam Gallagher, doesn't it? But Darius, colourblind, massive tune, fully recommend. Go and listen to it if you don't know it, America. And then we get to the moment where Natalya was being very, very unprofessional. She took a phone call in the middle of cutting a promo, and when she hung up that phone call from Tyson Kidd, what was all that about? We don't know. Tune in next week to find out. I can't bloody wait. Charlie Caruso was like, sorry pal, we've run out of time. Interview over. Even Charlie Caruso cannot be arsed with Natalya. But how unprofessional of Natalya can you get, eh? Oh, hello, Penny. How you doing, darling? Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thanks. How's the kids? Oh, lovely. And then we have Rick. Why the hell did they change his name? Erik Bugenhagen is a much better name. Bouges. We have him getting possessed by Seth Rollins' theme. And obviously earlier in the night we heard Seth Rollins speaking about Austin Theory and Murphy being underutilized. But Erik Bugenhagen, I'm going to call him that because that is the better name. He is the very definition of underutilized. Why the hell is he not on NXT and WWE main roster programming more often? How can you watch him doing stuff there? How can you watch the old air guitar shtick from back in the day? How can you watch his performance in WWE's hit Netflix film, The Main Event, to watch along with myself and Tom Campbell on the Cultaholic podcast feed 5-4-FUM feed right now? How can you watch his entire body of work and not utilize him more? That is the biggest WTF moment to ponder in the history of WTF moments. I love Bugenhagen. Oh crap, the book in this thing is the greatest match ever before it's even happened, and I don't know if I can do that, says Edge inside of his poor head. And Tom Phillips claiming that many people consider this to be the greatest match ever, while Edge is clearly sitting there thinking the words I just said there before is quite frankly the definition of cruel and a bit awkward. I still do not understand why they've gone down this road. If you know, let me know, but we're rolling now. Full speed ahead. The theme tune, the tagline for the match, it's all there. No pressure, Edge and Randy Orton. It's good to see the pressure is definitely not getting to Edge, who spoke about on this week's Raw, self-doubting and all of that malarkey. The poor bastard. But during that promo, Edge name-dropped Owen Hart. And that's a WTF moment. It's got to be. Now, I don't think I noticed this during WrestleMania 36 because I was too busy saying, oh my God, I cannot stand Rob Gronkowski and everything he does and everything he says and everything he wears. But bloody hell, during that 24/7 championship thing, we saw Gronk fall from the sky like Buzz Lightyear if he couldn't fall with style. And we saw him pin Mojo Rawley, his supposed best friend, to win the 24/7 title. But in the process, as they showed on this week's Raw in that WrestleMania replay, Mojo's shoulder was up. Mojo should not have lost the 24/7 title at WrestleMania to Gronk. Oh. But after seeing that dive from Gronk again on this week's Raw, I remembered the story of Vince McMahon apparently doing that dive that Gronk was going to do to prove to Gronk it was very safe. Apparently Vince did it. Vince was like, ha, damn it, that was nothing. Because he's the cookie monster now, apparently. But I want to see the footage of Vince McMahon doing that dive now. Gronk reads his promos off a massive card just below the camera, and it's not really obvious, and it's not off-putting whatsoever. Gronk, you're wearing those glasses for a reason, pal. Keep them on your head at all times. What was that? And I'm making it a WTF moment, everybody. The sickening moment we heard that we're going to have to wait 2 weeks from Sunday. What Sunday do you mean, Tom? The Sunday just gone or the Sunday upcoming for the next installment of the Undertaker documentary on the WWE Network. And there's the very concept of blue balls. Then there's given us that big gap between episodes 4 and episodes 5 of this Undertaker documentary. Or is it 3 and 4? I've got no idea. All I know is they're all fantastic. Give them all to us now, you minge teasing bastards. And then we found out that Liv Morgan was 6 years old when she was thinking about this big thing called life and whether she was going to hit the sun or crash and burn. And oof, that's very deep for a 6-year-old. I don't know about you, but when I was 6, I was eating my own bogies. Dun 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 dun. The curse of the plexiglass rears its ugly head. So as we saw there, the commentary team were doing the link to that clip of the Undertaker documentary we saw during last night's Raw. We then saw the clip of the Undertaker documentary. We then saw a promo from Liv Morgan that got very deep indeed. We then come back to WWE Raw and the Street Profits are making their entrance, despite the fact that we can clearly see in that shot there where the commentary team were doing their link to the footage of the Undertaker documentary, Big Montez Ford was doing push-ups, standing push-ups on the ring apron. That is a standing push-up like Spike. So Big Terry Ford was ringside doing his push-ups. He then went backstage just to do another entrance. That, my pals, is a Kevin Dunn continuity error. Bollocks. And so after social distancing and after keeping behind that plexiglass for many, many hours, Raw closed with a big brawl between Bobby Lashley and between Big Daddy, Drew McIntyre. And what did we see? The people inside of that crowd who had been social distancing, who had been keeping behind that plexiglass, getting into the ring and undoing all of their good work from the few hours prior. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why did they do all that if the plan was to do that at the end of the show? And then we get to the highlight of the night, the morning, the afternoon, whatever time of day you're watching this crap. It's time for NXT Performance Center people in the crowd at this week's Raw Bingo. If you have anybody who isn't on my list here, please keep it to yourselves because I will be absolutely gutted. This took me a long time. We have Brianna Brandy, Gia Lee, Chase Parker, Matt Martell, Daniel Vidot, Erik Bugenhagen will call him, Boa, Santina Garrett, Dio Marin, Karen Q, Laxmi Kant Rajput, apparently her name is, Indy Hartwell, Denzel Dejanette, Raw jobber of recent times, Swerve Scott, Malcolm Bivens, Ridge Holland, who a lot of people tweeted me to say, why is Dexter Lumis being a normal human being? It wasn't Dexter Lumis, it was NXT UK's Ridge Holland. We have Shotzi Blackheart, Caden Carter, Marina Shafir, Zachariah Smith, Sydney King, Jessamine Duke, Aaliyah, Simone Johnson, Casey Catanzaro, Jessie Camille, Emily Anzulis, EJ Nakunda, Rita Reese. Is she related to Ron? Her name is spelled slightly differently. Could you imagine if that was the Yete's daughter in NXT? I've got no idea what to say. Cal Bloom and Gurvinder Singh. As I say, if I've missed anybody off that list, please keep it to yourselves because I don't think I could take it. I have been Ross Twaddell from Cultaholic.com. Thank you for watching this utter nonsense of all the WTF moments from this week's Raw. A massive improvement all round. Well done for finally getting a crowd in there. Lovely stuff. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a lovely week. Oh, Penny.